Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone that's hopped on live tonight to join me, and obviously the beautiful Lauren Howe, who I'm going to be interviewing today as my first special guest of the year. We had a bit of a month off, obviously, during the crazy holiday period in January, and I'm so excited that Lauren is my first guest for this year, simply because I call her my soulful sister. We are so alike in so many ways, and I actually met Lauren at one of her beautiful wellness wine wellness workshops at Mind Body Heart Studio in Leederville. I think it was early last year. It was literally about a year ago, and I think it was, and it was quite funny because we had a few of the guests there. I didn't know Lauren. It was the first night I met her afterwards, but they'd come up and said, "Are you guys sisters?" And we were like, "Oh no," but then we started talking and we were like, "Oh, maybe we are in some way." And I remember we sat there, we're like, we need to meet up outside of this, and we just got along so well, and it's been such a joy to see. I won't go into too much of it because Lauren's going to share her story, but really just to watch her go from that phase of still being in her traditional job, but working into, her passion, which again, she'll share more about. And now her living in that every single day and just being able to shine because she's got so much heart to give and really, really is passionate about what she does. So just to give you a bit of a background on Lauren, Lauren is a certified lifestyle food and wellness coach and International Institute for Complementary Therapist Practitioner. That was a tongueful. She completed her certification through Cadence Health and Wellness Coaching Australia, and this unique certificate is recognised through the International Accreditation and Recognition Council as an approved course with the International Institute for Complementary Therapists. Lauren also holds an industry-accredited certificate of nutrition, as well as a certificate in the principles of meal and menu planning. She has undertaken further studies in understanding and managing stress through WCA, life cycles, and Mahart meditation through the Australian Still Point Institute, and completed a certificate in mindfulness for wellbeing and peak performance through Monash University. But wait, there's still more at the end of all of that. Lauren is currently completing her advanced certificate in guiding and teaching meditation through the Australian Centre for Holistic Studies, and she's very much looking forward to enhancing her clients' experience with this knowledge. And she's also got a Bachelor of Laws and Arts, as well as a cert
down to the bottom button. It's like she's yelling.
Oh, wrong person. Just make sure everyone's muted. Guys, if you come on late, just please make sure you're muted. Sorry, I've done it. So there you go. There's a lot there. You've achieved a lot in a short amount of space, and it's so lovely to see you doing something with this now. So, Lauren, thank you so much once again for popping on tonight. Sorry. I'm just trying to sort technology out and unmute you. There we go. I would absolutely love for you to, share a bit about yourself, your journey, how you came to a point of living in intent and purpose and passion before we go on. And that way everyone can, I think, connect with you a little bit more.
Sure. Thank you. Oh my God. I feel like I need to admit that I'm a course addict and I love learning, and especially since I've got into this wellness field, it's just been like a rabbit warren. I just sort of, the more and more things I come across, and you're probably the same, Carla, the more you just want to dive into it. But I think my journey really to get to where I am today, started quite some years ago. And I starting at the beginning of back when I finished high school and I went and did my law degree, and then not long after that got a job in the WA government. So like a really secure, stable job. And, after that I got married, and then the plan was that we were going to have kids. And I think that's where I was really stopped in my tracks, because we experienced infertility, and that possibly wasn't going to be an option for us. And so I think that's where I really started to look into the health and wellness side of things and start to question the decisions I was making in life and where they were coming from and what it meant. But I think it was really that first opportunity where I was kind of held up and almost forced by the universe to stop and really take stock of where I was. And so, yeah, I really got into the health and wellness side of things, and that's where I started to look at qualifications in that area and wanting to start a wellness business. And I think it wasn't until, you know, a year or so later when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, that's when, you know, it was almost like for me the universe saying, okay, come on, like how many times do we have to knock you down before you realise that possibly the track you're on isn't really the right one for you. And that, I think at the time I was, you know, trying to do the Little Wellness Co part-time. I was still working my government job full-time, and I was experiencing really high levels of stress as a result. And even though I was eating well and exercising and doing those things, I think still my mindset wasn't really right. And, you know, and I wasn't really living a life that was true and aligned to where I wanted to be. And I think it wasn't until I ended up having some really powerful one-on-one coaching with my incredible coach that I work with, and, you know, doing meditation and going on a 21-day hike in California, that I got to really spend some time thinking about, you know, why all this was happening and where I was in life and why I wasn't feeling fulfilled, why I didn't feel like, and why I was still feeling stressed and wasn't really feeling positive about the direction that my life was going. And I realised a lot of it came down to the fact that I, even though I knew at the time possibly what my passion and my purpose was, I was still, those self-doubt and that fear was kind of stopping me in my tracks and not letting me, or preventing me from wanting to take that next step to running my business full time. And so, you know, I came back from my hike after 21 days hiking over mountains and camping and having nothing else to worry about but, you know, where I was going to sleep that night, you know, came back so recharged and decided to quit the government job and really take that plunge into running my own business and pursuing my passion. And I really haven't looked back. It's been a journey, and it continues to be a journey and continues to unfold. But I guess in a biggish nutshell, that's kind of how I got to where I am now.
I love it. And I love that it's generally in those moments where, you know, you're doing something out of the real world and you're around those people that you kind of have those, that, you know, you get your balls on and you decide, you know what, I'm just going for whatever it is I want in life. And, you know, what you said about, you know, self-doubt and fear, that's the number one blockage, like for most of us, you know, in doing something that's different and a bit outside the realm. Instead of listening to our intuition a lot of the time, we listen to that self-doubt in our heads. So it's, like I said, it's amazing to see when you actually decide to push that out of the way and lead with intuition in your heart, what you can do when you be a little bit brave. So I guess the next question I wanted to ask you, Lauren, was, you know, a lot of people might have been reading the flyer and the invite for tonight, but, you know, still be, well, what is life and soul purpose? You know, we do use that phrase and those words get brought up quite often, and passion, but, you know, what defines it, and, you know, what does it include, and how do you even know if you're living in it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. It's something we hear so often, and I think lots of us have a vague understanding of it. And, you know, many people probably have a really great understanding of it, but it's essentially the reason why as individuals we're here. And I think that, you know, when we're living our soul purpose or our life purpose, you're really going to feel that sense of meaning and contentment and fulfillment. And it's almost more than that fleeting feeling of happiness. I think we experience happiness quite a lot, and lots of people pursue happiness. But, you know, when you're living your soul purpose, it's almost a more deeper, more sustainable feeling of, you know, that meaning and giving back in some way. So, you know, and I think we've all had, like I said, those glimpses, and I certainly did before, you know, really connecting with what my soul purpose was or is at the moment. You know, we have glimpses of it and we can feel it, and we sometimes connect with what our passions are and have a little taste of it. But, you know, not many of us get the opportunity to really solidly identify what it is and start to live our life really aligned by it. So, yeah, I think that's sort of, I think we also know when we're living with purpose, we, you know, find that creativity and our creative juices just flow, and that we're quite supported to do it. It almost comes naturally to us to pursue something that is our soul purpose. And it's really unique to everyone. I think that no one can tell you what your soul purpose is or your life purpose. only you hold that information within you, and it's through guidance and the right sort of tools that you can really start to connect with that. If you're not one of those lucky people who, and we know these people who you just see and you know what they were born to do, and they are out there living it, and we can all say we all know those people, it just flows out of them, and they've got those natural talents, and it's amazing, and they are pursuing it, and their life is about it, and they do some really incredible things. But for those of us also like me who, really make our decisions, and I previously did, based on inherited values from, I guess, my family and from society of what you should be doing or what's the norm. I think, we can start to lose sight of what is our purpose and what we should actually be pursuing in life. So, yeah, like I said, that guidance really helps us sort of, and the tools that, some of the tools I'll talk about tonight as well, really helps us sort of reconnect with that. And, something as a kid we are probably a lot more clear on when we're uninhibited and we're just doing what our heart tells us to do. And the minute we start to grow up and, try and fit in with society and start living a bit more on autopilot, we start to lose that connection with it. So, yeah, in a bit of a nutshell, I guess that's, what soul purpose is and how it can, what it can mean to people.
I guess it's so hard to really do it in a nutshell because there's so much around and to it, and that you can extend on. I can see your eyes just going yes. But the 2 points that I love, and what you said, which I think probably people on this call tonight can relate to, is we do so often listen to those inherited values which don't really stand in today's age and how the world works. I know for me, it was the whole, what do you mean you're not going to uni? What are you doing with yourself? Because I was a bit flitty. I was going to dance, and I was here, and then I was working there. I was a little bit, which you'll get into, I suppose, lost. I wasn't quite sure what my purpose was. But yet when you can give yourself time and be a little bit understanding and just be around the right environments, you'd be surprised, you might start to basically get rid of those outside influences and really dig deep and see what it is that you love doing and that you're passionate about and create something from it. So I really agree with all of that. Lauren, I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, do you believe that lifestyle factors can play a part in this? When you follow successful people and, especially motivation speakers and mentors, they tend to all have a set of principles that they follow. That it does involve nutrition and exercise, for example, in helping them make sure they stay on track with their soulful purpose. So do you believe that for yourself and how you coach that, having that balance and those factors does make a difference in being able to see and connect with your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like like a cycle. And for me, when I started doing wellness coaching, it was almost like that missing link was really starting to connect people with their why and their motivation and their reasons for doing it. And I think, we can want to live healthy and do things, but if we're not connected with that deeper purpose and deeper reason for that, then it can often fall by the wayside. And again, in the reverse, I think when we are living our purpose and we're able to live it even better if we're nourishing our bodies and we're exercising and looking after our mindset, it helps us, I guess, be able to achieve that in a lot more functional way than if we, weren't to be doing it. And I definitely think it's kind of like a cycle, and you need to have all those pieces of the puzzle to make it all kind of work and tick away.
Yeah, and I love that because, I did last year a call on this, and it was, the sort of 11 steps to, to health and happiness. And it's sort of my set of principles that I was sharing that I've developed and just learned along the line that help me stay connected and feel true to what I'm doing because, I'm sure everyone has their own health journey and story. Share a little bit of yours before. And often, when we look back at why we were feeling like that or why we were blocked, it had a lot to do with the fact that maybe we were exhausted at work, we weren't getting self-caring, we weren't spending enough time with family, we weren't necessarily eating well, we weren't getting enough exercise in or doing too much, we weren't sleeping. Like all those factors become very, very hard then to be able to, live in your passion every day and do that contently. So I love that you also agree that lifestyle definitely plays a factor in being able to find that. So thank you. I know that you're going to share some tips with us. So, you know, for those who might be on this right now, or just had Karina pipe in. Feel free, by the way, anyone, if you just want to make a comment in the chat or ask a question. If we've got time at the end, we'll get Lauren to answer. But Karina's just said there, good points, read the lifestyle. So, so if anyone on here tonight has come on, and you don't have to share, but maybe you are feeling a bit disconnected, or you're just not sure where to go or start, what are some of the tips, Lauren, that you can give and that you've utilised yourself in being able to really connect with, you know, your soulful purpose?
Yeah, sure. And I'll give people a little bit of time as I'm sort of talking through these, because they might want to really jot these down and start to think about it as I go through it. But I think for me, one of the number one things is really connecting with your values and your core values. And again, it's something that we do hear thrown around a lot. And when we need to connect with our values, it can be quite an overwhelming or difficult process. But something I always get my clients to think about to help sort of narrow down what your values are is to really think back in your life and think about, you know, when was the time in your life when you were the most happy? And so really thinking and connecting with that, what were you doing? Who were you with? And really starting to paint that picture of what brought you happiness. And then after asking yourself that, starting to think about, you know, when was the time that you were most fulfilled? And like I said, you know, happiness is really quite a, almost a fleeting feeling that you'll feel at that moment in time, but feeling that feeling of fulfillment is more, you know, will kind of last on a much longer period, and it's a much deeper feeling. And again, asking those same things: when you felt fulfilled, who were you with? What were you doing? Why did you feel fulfilled? And really starting to identify and connect with that. So, you know, values are really important. And I think through that you can start to tease out a few key things that you might see popping out. I know, you know, for me, one of those is that always pops out for me is like family, and that connection of love, and adventure and things like that. So you can really start to sort of tease things out from that. So along with values, I think strengths are also so important to know. I think your strengths are something that we often in life, I think we focus on our weaknesses and we think about what we need to get better at or what we need to do. And I think rather than focusing on what's wrong with you or what's weak, thinking about and really connecting with, well, what am I good at and what comes naturally to me and what am I strong at? And there's a really great website. It's the VIA Institute of Strengths. They do a free strengths test on there, and it's something I get all my clients to do, and I recommend anyone do it because it just really gives you that idea of what your strengths are, and you'll answer a heap of questions. It's free, it takes about 15 minutes, but then once you've done it, it will basically, I think there's 24 strengths, and it will send them out 1 to 24 to you, and obviously it's unique to you based on the questions that you've answered, and the top 8 are really going to be your top strengths and the ones that just, like I said, flow easily. Your middle 8 are going to be the ones that they'll come to you and they're situational, and you know you'll still use them. And then your bottom 8, again, you might still use them, but it takes more energy for you to use those sort of strengths. And again, like I said, try not to focus too much on the bottom ones, and for the intention of looking at it for your purpose, really start to look at those top ones. And that VIA Strengths Institute is just, you know, a treasure trove of information about your strengths and how you can use them in different ways, how you can strengthen them even more. So definitely, I think, check that out. Another thing I definitely recommend is identifying times when you were in your flow. And when I talk about flow, it's a lot about, you know, when was a time that you were doing an activity where time just didn't matter, and it, you know, it almost stood still and you became so absorbed in what you were doing that nothing else around you existed almost. And, you know, sometimes we have to think back quite a bit to a time when that happened. And, you know, in the lives that we live now, often we don't get a chance to do that. But yeah, really identifying those times when you might have got into your flow or into the zone, as they call it. And, you know, that'll be another hint about, you know, something that, again, you love doing, that it just, you know, time, nothing matters to you because what you're doing is obviously means so much. And I mentioned before that another area is, you know, when we were kids, I think that time when we were really uninhibited and we did what we wanted and we didn't care what anyone thought. You know, going back to that time as a child and thinking about your childhood and asking yourself, you know, what did I want to be when I grew up? And I always laugh about this one because I think about it and I think about my sister who always said she wanted to be a donkey. And so maybe not a donkey, but, you know, you might be able to go back in, or maybe you could be a donkey, you know, she could dress up somewhere. But, you know, going back to when you weren't told you couldn't be a donkey, what, you know, think about that. Think about what it was you wanted to be before people told you you can't be that, or, you know, don't be ridiculous. You know, and also what were you known for as a child? Were you know, the crazy animal kid? Were you the kid always climbing trees? You know, those things that brought you that pure joy when you were little often are the things that I think we come back to and hold, again, the secrets to what our life purpose and our soul purpose is. And I've just got 2 more because I'm conscious that I'm talking so much, but I really want to share this with everyone. These passions and interests. So, you know, thinking about what you're drawn to. So when you watch TV, what do you know, maybe not necessarily the Kardashians or whatever, but, you know, like what documentaries are you drawn to, or what books do you always pick up, or what, you know, when you're reading the news, what are the articles that you're always looking at? You know, things like that that you kind of surround yourself and you're always drawn to. Have you got an obsession for buying cookbooks, or, you know, those sort of things might sort of hold that secret again to something that you obviously are interested in, that you've got a passion for, and really starting to explore that and dive a bit deeper into it. And I guess my other tip is, and even on a deeper level, is thinking about the life-changing events that have happened in your life. And, you know, I think that's also from my own personal experience, but the things that have happened in your life, I think happen for a reason. And I see, you know, things such as my infertility or experiencing that autoimmune, and, you know, potentially doing law and doing a job that, while it was stable and great at the time, was unfulfilling. Going through those experiences is what's led me to where I am today, and want to encourage other people to find their passion and pursue it. And so thinking about your personal life-changing experiences and really connecting with what lessons you might be able to share others, or how you might be able to support them in that way, I think is such a powerful way to connect with your soul purpose. Because I think when we give back to others, there's nothing more rewarding, and there's no better feelings. So, you know, those are my sort of few tips to kind of get you started and get your mind thinking about where your soul purpose might lie. And yeah, hopefully it kind of starts to trigger a few little things.
Oh, wow. Lauren, I love all those points, honestly. I've written them down, and I actually want to do an overview of them again, just because.
Yeah, for sure.
Values, I mean, absolutely. One of the things I agree with you on too, in when I speak to clients or with my team, is, you know, establishing even your top 5 values, because you're right, you find most of the time when we're not feeling happy or content, it's because we're not actually living or ticking off any of those values, or very little. And once you are, that's where everything starts to come to light for you. So I really agree. It's about going back to what are the things that you value in life. The strengths of the BIA, yeah, that is amazing. Going into that institute, I've done that test myself. We do a lot of that within the business community that I'm in. It's fabulous tools. So, you know, don't just, if you're listening to this thinking, I need that, like, go on the website and do that. Don't just leave it to be another thing in your desk drawer, or just, you know, stuck up here. I really encourage that. Talking about your flow, you know, it's a hard one to kind of explain sometimes, you know, how are you in your flow? But I think it really is a feeling when you wake up in the morning and everything's just clicking and happening. And for me, I feel like it's almost like that whole, you kind of always pinching yourself going, I'm just really waiting for something to just go like wrong here, or not work. You know, you're kind of like, what's going on? And everything's just moving as it should. So I love that. You know, dreaming again like you are a kid. Yes, you know, we could put a donkey costume on your sister. But do you know what I think? This is one side where we lose that childhood playfulness in us as adults, and we say it's so silly, you can't think like that, you can't dream like that. But realistically, I think we just need to, as you said, get in touch with that again. And I like to call it limitless dreaming, you know, where you give yourself permission to dream the most outlandish dreams and be okay with it. and just go for it, and not let anyone, I guess, sort of stamp them down, because, you know, those sorts of dreams that people get told all the time can't come true or can't happen do. And it's the dreamers who decide, you know, bugger what everyone else is saying, I'm going to make it happen, that bring it to life. So yeah, limitless dreaming. Thinking about what you're drawn to naturally, absolutely, you know, what you love doing naturally, what you enjoy, what you would do as a hobby, what you would do even if you didn't get paid to do it because you love it. I think it definitely brings you back to that sense of purpose. And then, of course, just finally, life-changing events. And things happen all the time that we can't predict, that will change our path and, you know, bring things up. I mean, I can't speak for you, Lauren, but as a little girl, I don't know, did you ever go, oh, this is what I want to do when I grow up. This is what I'm going to be, a wellness coach, and in lifestyle and food and purpose? Probably not. But as you said, the life situation brought you here, and I feel very much the same. So I think, you know, I encourage all of you that for whatever comes into your life, see every experience as an opportunity. Even if it's, you know, not a nice one or a negative one. You saw what Lauren did. You know, she was challenged on that issue of fertility, yet she went, where is this an opportunity for me to learn and grow and perhaps discover something else, you know, about me? So it was a blessing in disguise at the time. So just think about that. Opportunities are thrown in front of our face all the time. We just have to be willing to see them and open up that door and walk through. So, Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time to be on tonight. I haven't seen any questions pop up, but I'm sure everyone's just digesting what you've said anyway. There's already some great tools. Guys, if you want to follow Lauren or know more about her, hop onto her website, www.littlewellnessco.com.au, and I'll just posting it in here now in the chat, but for anyone that listens to the recording. Now, Lauren, you've got a blog on there, you've got more information about you and what you do, and you've got some upcoming events, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Actually, on this Sunday, it's a soul purpose workshop, and it's a full day intensive. So it's what I would normally do one-on-one with someone over 7 sessions. And I'm giving people the opportunity to come and do it in a whole day. And we work through the 7 steps. And, you know, some of the things I spoke about tonight, but not only identifying what your soul purpose is, but then assessing your current life and looking at how you can actually align your life and make choices to really integrate your soul purpose into your everyday. And like I said before, your soul purpose doesn't necessarily have to be a career, and it changes all the time, you know, as we grow as individuals. But this course is, you know, really about helping give you some clarity, and especially for people who feel a bit lost in what they're doing in life, or a bit disconnected from things, or even people who maybe feel like they might be on the right track but just want a little bit of clarity with it. That's what the workshop's all about. So I'm also running a promo just before it, and it's bring a friend for free. So, you know, anyone who buys the ticket, if you purchase 2 tickets, you use the coupon code FRIENDS at the checkout, and it will discount you. And yeah, healthy lunch provided, a glass of bubbly at the end, because I do love my vino. So, you know, it'll be a fun, nice day to just come and spend and chill out. So yeah, I'd love to see people there, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Beautiful, thank you. Well, if anyone is interested in that, you can find more details up on Lauren's website, as well as any of her other events that she has coming up as well. So I'm going to finish it there. Once again, Lauren, my beautiful soul sister, thank you so much for being on tonight. It's lovely having you on here. And I look forward to seeing more of, you know, what you get up to this year with all your hikes and your events and your coaching. It's been like beautiful to see.
Thank you. Oh, my pleasure for being here. I'm really honoured to have the opportunity to be part of your series. So thank you for asking me.
Welcome anytime. All right, I'm going to leave it there and end the recording. And for anyone that wants to have a listen to this again at some stage, it will be available both through my website and also through Lauren's blog, I believe, as well.
Yes, yeah, I'll put it up on the Facebook, and I'll share it on my website as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening, Lauren.
You too. Thanks, guys.